Central Catholic grad, how do you feel being here at U of O, man?
It's been phenomenal. A dream come true, honestly, being a Portland kid, and it's just like living the dream every Saturday.
What are you most looking forward to this year?
New conference, new teams, and we get an opportunity to see where we can take it this year and see how we can be better than we were last year. Just excited to see the growth.
Let's be honest, the expectations for this team are through the roof. How do you manage those expectations, and what do you say to people that doubt them?
Honestly, to the people that doubt them, I say nothing. And to manage the expectation is to exceed it every day. Coming in with that expectation on our mind and setting the small expectation that we can focus on the day-to-day compared to looking toward the future for the big goal that a lot of people are attempting to achieve.
Having family that'll be able to come and see you close, did that mean a lot to you to come here, and what will that mean for you on Saturdays?
I think it means a lot to be able to be represented, like by my mom specifically. I'm always excited when she's there because she's screaming. And on Saturdays, I think for me it definitely does mean a little bit more because of who I'm representing and what I'm representing and them being there present at the game.
All the people back at home that see this interview, what would you want to tell them?
I love them. I hope they could watch me. I hope I could make them proud, and I hope that we could take it as far as we want to. But more than anything, I love them.
All right, you're a linebacker that's coming into a conference that's known for pounding the ball and giant backs. How excited are you for that?
Pretty excited. We don't get to see too much of that type of pound-for-pound football, and just going into a conference where they like to play that type of football a lot, I enjoy it. Like you said, I went to Central. We played a team called Jesuit, and it's all that they liked. So I've gotten a little experience with it before.
What was the most times Jesuit ran the ball against you guys? I went to one game they played. I think they were playing Lake Ridge, and they ran it like 26 times.
I'll tell you this. We played Central my sophomore year. I think altogether they threw the ball 6 times by the time the game was over. My coach counted it because he was just like, they had like 300 yards on the ground. It was crazy.
Did you ever miss like that funkiness of football, like when you get to college and everything's like a little bit more balanced and like you're not going to have like any of those just random games?
Well, we got that experience in the Pac-12 because if you look at a team like Stanford, that's Jesuit in my mind. That's how I think about it. Okay, we're the run-stopping team, for typically of what they usually do. We got to see spread this last year, but there's just sometimes the team will give you what you're not ready for, and you're like, oh, okay, now let's adjust.
What's the hardest you ever hit somebody? It could be in practice too, where you're just like that popped.
It had to be one time, probably in high school. I think a running back was coming around my edge. I said it and he still trusted it, and I just got under his pads and I gave him one. That was the hardest though, and it was practice. It wasn't a game. I'm trying to get one of those in a game.
Do you ever feel bad in that situation, or is it just like I win?
Never. Never. You can't feel bad in football because once they get up after you hit them, they're like, okay, what's his number? They looking for you, so you can't feel bad.
Are you too young to – did your brother ever give you a good pop playing football? Or
Never got a chance to play against him on the field, but he gave me plenty of good pops at the house, so I think he made up for that.
Your brand new conference, is there any teams that you're especially looking forward to playing, or any new stadiums you're looking forward to walking into and get a chance to play?
Yeah, 100%. I'm very excited to play everybody because of the new conference and of the new experience. You get a chance to see, like every stadium we're going to, I'm excited to go because it's going to be such a long flight, and we get to go through different adversities of like changing our schedules, how we travel, the new schedule, and what we're going to do when we get there. And I'm excited to play in the snow. I think it's going to be crazy. It's going to be interesting. I've never did too much cutting or nothing in the snow, but I think that's just going to be fun in other stadiums.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Camp Randall in the winter is not the same as UCLA. Yeah. Are you prepared for that?
I think I am. Being from Oregon, of course, we've seen all type of different weather in the season. You see rain, you'll see a bunch of sunshine. Sometimes you catch a little snow, but I just think I'm prepared to just get in there and see what I could do on all of it.
What makes Oregon an elite program, in your opinion?
In my personal opinion, it's the process. I think that it's easy to get away from that, but we have a head coach and a D coordinator that are heavy on it every single day of stay true to starting that routine over every day. And what they call it is the reset button. Doing something, doing it to the best of your ability, come back the next day, hitting the reset and doing it again.
What do you think that people outside the program don't see that you wish they could see? As to why it makes it great, you know what I mean? They're not.
I would like for them to see. I know it might be obvious to people because he is our head coach, but how detailed and how good of a head coach we actually have on the field and how he coaches his players. Because I think a lot of times you can get coaches that may want you to be good, and you can tell that he's somebody that wants his players to be great players.
As a defensive player, you're not as much listening to the count and all that stuff, and audibles. How much does the sound play? And do you think going to these bigger stadiums is going to be different, or do you think it'll even compete with Autzen?
I think that it makes me remember last year when we played in one of those NFL stadiums. Matter of fact, it was my freshman year. We played Georgia. I couldn't hear a peep, and I wasn't even on the field yet. But when I got on the field the next year, I realized why we do so much communication with our hands and showing signs and cosigns, because that's where, when we can't talk to each other, that's our new form of talking. It's like everybody learned ASL in a week. So as long as we can have that nonverbal communication, fine, it shouldn't affect us at all.
With a group of young pass rushers that are all kind of in the same year, how does that sort of rotation throughout a game really help advance your play when you can get in spurts?
It's about who's rolling, who's ever having that game, have your game, and you have your brother, the full support of your brothers behind you that are waiting on their opportunity to see if they can affect the game in the way that you're doing it. It's like no hating, no saying no crazy stuff, but always supporting your brother, because when you're in a room full of dogs, it can be very easy to be competitive and then take it to a level it shouldn't go. But I think our room does a very good job at maintaining like a leveled head in the game, because sometimes you're like, I'm a guy too, but we're all guys and we all understand that, and we're all just, cheering each other on.
Has that similarity sort of increased the cohesion and the connection between that group?
I would say it's increased the connection. I will also say that it has increased our work ethic. It makes you want to try to take that next step to be the guy in the room, even though you have five to seven of them that you're like, I'm trying to do the same thing. And it just makes us work together. And that's what we do a lot of the times.
I've talked to offensive linemen already and receivers, and they talk about how their room ranks on a national level, where you put in the linebacker core at U of O against the rest of the country.
Of course, as anybody would say, I'm going to bet on us against anybody. And that comes from the confidence that I have in this group, but it also comes from what I watch. And I wouldn't even say anything toward myself, but to my teammates, their work ethic is insane. And I have a personal, really high expectation for everybody in the linebacker corps because of how good they've done this offseason.
How does it help having your brothers that have both been college football players, and obviously I'm sure they were helping you when you were younger, kind of getting you ready, but that support system as somebody who maybe can, he can talk to one of his brothers or somebody who's played the sport before after a game or after practice or whatnot?
I think it helps me a lot. My process is simple, figuring it out on my own, and if I can't figure out, I'm going to speed dial Lamar, Elijah. And they know it's coming. And sometimes we'll go home, we'll be chilling at the house, and we'll just be sitting there eating dinner. And I'll just bring up a conversation like, hey, when you used to rush the edge, how did you used to bend the corner? So, and sometimes it's just those random conversations, but I've had those for 20 years now. And it's just increased my gameplay because I'm a sponge to them, because really to anybody, but they taught me how to be that. And they helped me mold myself into the player I want to be.
One of the classic memories that a lot of fans have of Lamar was him on the field after that Washington game, talking to a young guy. At that time, Keon was a young guy, about this is the standard now, not the football. As a guy who's aspiring to get back to that, how much do you hear from your brother about that series, about that game, and about getting back to what him and Troy and those guys kind of left off at that time?
I think Lamar's biggest thing telling me, like as another young guy that was actually in his life, it was just stick to, like I've talked about, sticking to my own process and making sure that I'm on top of that and I'm able to exceed that every day and sticking to a routine. I think a routine is huge, and I didn't realize it prior to college or anything else, but Lamar helped me understand that if you can come and just do the little things and the little details every single day, and everybody try to achieve their little details, you're able to do whatever you want to with football.